Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am again, Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Thank you so very much for stopping on this post. Indeed, I'm here because I have information many of you already are familiar with. Just to confirm it, many of you, this is new information. Well, the message that I have for you today is in relationship to the various problems that we are experiencing, and we have addressed most of them as we have been able to identify them, and we've shared some of the causes and a few solutions. Today I just want to mention some of the causes again that perhaps we haven't paid that much attention to, that would lighten it up, brighten it up, clear it, so that those who haven't seen it yet might be able to see. For instance, like the things that black people have gone through for 400 years. What was one of the other negative effects that we had not really paid too much attention to? And that is that it gave the people a sense that this status of second-class citizen was not necessarily wrong, that perhaps it was a okay matter. It's a normal thing, and though you have heard some sentiments about scripture, but it doesn't overwhelm what we as people have lived for over 400 years. And so while now the black people and people of color and minorities who have felt this pain and suffering and have decided that they are not going to trust you anymore, those oppressors are going to rise up. Now you find that those who have been okay, have gone along with that type of treatment for others, are now finding themselves about to be put in that same situation. And it is done by one who is more evil than they are. For instance, the President of the United States. You look at him talking about everything negative he could think of about everybody outside of himself, and how he tries to control everybody outside of himself. He has a tendency, ladies and gentlemen, to say to everybody that I don't respect you, and you got to respect me because I got the best brains, I got the best penthouse, I got the best everything. Now, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you could not find any way, any other way that you can say or try to say that you are a God. There's no other way. What else? I mean, if you say, what is a God? Then what he describes himself as. Ain't that something? And now, people who still got some moral aptitude, some people still got it. And they want to stand against something that has become so apparent as the murder of George Floyd. And the leader of this nation, who has held himself up as one of peace, wants to exert more violence, legal violence, under his authority, command, makes him feel bold, and letting let all of the dictators know that this one is rising and coming. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who lived maybe born in the 70s, got a chance to watch a few cowboy pictures, you know there'd always be this gunslinger that would come into town, everybody hear about him. It made people nervous. He'd walk into town, somebody tried to stand up to him, he'd slap him around a couple of times, and the next thing you know, those who were so bad are jumping at his every whim, doing everything they think he wants them to do. Kind of reminds you of Senator Graham from South Carolina. Kind of reminds you of Mitch McConnell from Kentucky, somewhere down there, I think. And all of those other senators who talked about this man, said how evil he was, identified him as being a devil. In one fit, they talked about it. And now, You look at him, and the people confront this devil up front, and then they ask the senators, what are you doing? What statement you got to make? And they running like little cats. You know, the dog and the cat, the loser always turn around running away, right? With his tail between the legs. I don't know, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't read it yet. See there, they got no moral nothing. They got no moral nothing, ladies and gentlemen. They are just like, you know those things they put out in the field sometimes, the scarecrow? Got them made with hay and stuff. It's like, that's what they are. Tools to be used. Not for good. Well, even for good when they have to. Then they put up their front. Oh, I'm good. And those senators, you ask yourself, why do they yield to this man? You know why they yield. What? He got something on them. You know they've been crooks. These people are not genuine folks, ladies and gentlemen. You've always known they were crooks. That's been no secret. They've always known they were crooks. They were just able to convince you that they were better than somebody else. And you believed them because they pulled the wool over your head better than somebody else. And why were they able to pull the wool over your head better than somebody else? Because they had taught you to believe that it was not right for people to live in peace all the time, all people. That's why you had to have a military, you had to have guns, you had to have war, you had to have dissension, you had to have division. They weren't satisfied with the fact that every individual on earth requires food to live. They didn't like that. No, let's compete, and the ones who can get it, they're the ones who can eat. But look, everyone works. Everyone participates in the creative process. So if they're working, what you mean? They can't eat. Well, got to take it, some kind of control. Let them have a job that pay them minimum wage. They just can't have enough. They can't have all they want. Anything. See, peace requires justice. Love requires that the power that created the earth, all the materials that are being used by humankind, because humankind needs it or wants it or desires it, and they've been given the gifts of being able to do it. For whom? For themselves and the human race. But somebody say, no, baby, it's about money. Why? Because with money, I control it. And see, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know this. If you got somebody sitting up in the White House right now trying to take over your country, seriously, Matters gave you guys a hint. But if you got a rogue, a thief, a murderer, not of just a few people, but of a nation, sitting there willing to take it this way, without your consent, and you got a political season coming along, you're not bold enough for some strange reason, or you're not smart enough to know how to do it a legitimate way of removing. You tried it once. You tried to remove this man from the White House, but he had too many thieves and crooks in the Senate, and they couldn't permit that because then he would tell on them. That's what they're afraid of. They're not scared of that man because he got some muscles. They tell you how little his hands are. They talk about his big butt. I don't know. I've never seen him. But he has something on him. So if they turn and dish him out, he exposed them out. So now if you had a law that says, an amnesty law, that says everybody have an amnesty day to tell the truth. Now, your worst thing that you don't want anybody to know that you've been hiding from your whole life, amnesty. You can walk around with your head up now. You're not going to be condemned for it. Wonder what would happen. Probably nothing. Because these people will still be afraid. They will still be afraid because these evil people will kill you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, while they're sitting there, you better keep that in mind. Don't be walking around there thinking about we just got to beat this man. No, we got to beat what allowed this man to be in power. We got to beat that which was within us, ingrained in our daily lives. And some of us knew it. Some of us didn't know so much about it. Some of us just ignorant all the way to it. But the evidence of his existence is all before us. And only compassion and love will let us deal with it. And what does that mean? It does not mean getting rid of some of it. It does not mean robbing a little bit over here to make this better so this here hurt. It means fixing that stuff. Fixing it. And I'm talking to you, the people. I'm not talking to the government. These guys have hijacked your government. They've taken over your government. And you're following them just like for 400 years black people allowed themselves to be subjected to the treatment of second-class citizens. And you, the American people who have held yourself up as being so this and so that, are being used by this man the same way, the same identical way that black people have been used. And if you want to win this victory, you better come together with black people, with people of color, with the poor, with the suffering. And show the world, not just Trump and his pigeons, but the world, that this, what we talk about today, is the way of life. And if we can't stand behind this, ladies and gentlemen, what is our justification? What is our justification for fighting and arguing and pretending any further? The truth is now known. The choice is yours. And this is, whether you like it or not, Judgment Day. And whatever move you make is the move that will stand with you throughout eternity. Thank you for listening, and this has been Eddie Marcus once again saying goodbye.